If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free, and you guessed it, it's free. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in just one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Pieces of a Nation.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. You dressed up for this.
It's a courtesy.
What was that?
It's a coat here.
Oh, yeah, right. No, I love it. I love it. Yeah. Well, let me introduce you. Let me introduce you first, and then we'll get going. Okay, so welcome back to Pieces of a Nation. Thank you so much for coming back here. This is the podcast that makes you feel stuff. My name is Richard Chu. First of all, please follow us on Instagram at Pieces of a Nation. And while you're at it, please subscribe, rate, and review our show. Really superly help us out. Also, if you like what we do, please support us on Patreon. It's only $5 a month. We made it super simple for all the tiers. It's like a price of burrito. Go to www.patreon.com/Pieces of a Nation. Today, I'd like to introduce you to a special lady straight out of the outback of Australia. Well, not really in the outback, but she's in that area, I guess. But yeah, she's in Australia, and really appreciate her, being up at this hour during her time. She's a creator of Mind Power Magic. She's also a mind matrix specialist, an energy healer. She's considered the Mind Power Lady. I want to introduce Dr. Angela Wilson. Thank you for coming on.
It's my pleasure to be on your show and serve your audience, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic season. By the way, and because I'm in Australia, then I'm actually in the privilege that because Australia is isolated from the world, that's why it's safe here,
That's right. Are you, is everyone in Australia pretty much maskless? Have they, gone back to normal?
From what I see here, I'm in the city, the third big city in Australia, Brisbane, and it's quite safe here. And also many people from Melbourne, Sydney actually move here. I heard this because much safer here than other place because less people here.
Really? Yeah, I have a friend that just recently moved to Australia. So he's he's starting a whole new life with his family and starting a whole new career there. So it's really fascinating to see him on his Facebook posts. But yeah, I mean, let's. I wanted to talk about your your subject matter because I'm really into the stuff that you're into. So it's really fascinating to me. Mind Power Lady, creator of the Mind Power Magic. All those words to me, instigate some really out of this world visuals and feelings for me. So I kind of want to talk about. I want to talk about like how you first started out and what is Mind Power Magic? What is that?
Okay, that's a very good question. I share with you. The mind power I'm talking about is every leaders, practitioners, entrepreneurs, masters, and gurus. People who are using meditation, all kinds of healing, NLP, or cultivation, or try to head into enlightenment. Everyone actually is looking for what I discovered when I was 6 years old. Yeah. So put like this. The mind power is the power in part of our mind, which is from the unconsciousness. Let me explain what is unconscious. When we are fated, we know we lose conscious, yeah? But sometimes even when we lose conscious, we're in coma, we kind of can feel things, yeah? But we cannot talk, cannot move the body. And that's the part of the mind have the magic power, and which most of us are not able to tap into it. And the Sigmund Freud said, the unconscious mind is largely inaccessible. But the reason why it's not inaccessible, because that part of the mind actually is a powerful house, is controlled by other invisible sources. Anthony Robbins, the life coach, the top life coach globally, who use NLP, teach people how to bring mind rewinding, and to be focused, working on the emotion. He mentioned the invisible forces is emotion. Every human being is working on emotion, and their decision, their behavior, all based on emotion. But the emotion is from subconscious mind, emotional mind. But what's the force control our emotion? Yeah, that's tricky. Yeah, yes, emotion is invisible force. But what's the invisible force behind our emotion? If we focus on our emotion, we will find out the whole lifetime we have to constantly rewinding our brain, our mind, to keep us focused, get rid of trouble. Then let's ask one question. Stephen Jobs, who was a master of NLP, mind rewinding technique. But the point is why he failed to save his life. Does it make sense? Why? That's the point about mind rewinding and on the subconscious mind. What happens? Use all kinds of mind rewinding technique requires we are in consciousness. Does it make sense? If we are out of consciousness, we cannot control our brain. Our mind, how we can working on what's going on inside body. Yeah.
So what I'm sort of understanding about what you're saying is the only way to have this balance of advancing in life and to help heal your path is not only just to have a conscious frame of mind, but also to understand your unconscious frame of mind so that it can work together in synchronicity, right?
That's right. And also currently most professionals at the global scale, all the leaders, they are working on NLP, working on subconscious mind, which most of them mixed with unconscious mind. So I wanted to clarify this. And that's what I found out before 6. But when I was 6, I recognized, oh my God, I have to work on that. Why that happened? I was born unwanted. My mom tried to drown me to death at my birth. And then I was physically abused, emotionally, physically, and mentally every day, whenever my parents have the emotion.
That's really fascinating. I read about that. And it was almost like, at an early age, how old were you?
You mean that time?
At that time, how old were you?
Yeah. I was abused since birth.
Birth. So even since birth, it left a blueprint or a footprint of trauma, right? That you had to sort of like reflect back in your later years in order to reestablish new roots, right? And take out the weeds, right?
That's right. That's exactly why most leaders, they can be very successful, use their super mental power, but meanwhile, they cannot get rid of what they experienced in childhood. Because the real power is in the unconscious mind. I was fortunate, I found it. That's why I never caught up by any mental health issue. What happens is whenever my parents, abused me, and then I was thinking how I survived. because nobody put me under their wing. And especially I was following my doctor parents to their daily routine. I saw patients, doesn't matter they're rich or poor, they're powerful, they're vulnerable, they all have the same suffering, physically, emotionally, mentally. I see people die every day. I see the newborn baby, infant, beautiful girl, have 2 years on the cheeks and dead. So I start to worry about when I'm going to die, where I'm heading to, and how I'm not going to die. I was starting to worry about this. Then I told myself, oh my God, then what should I do? But as for kids, then you got tired, you fall to sleep, yeah? Then later on you think, okay, second day you saw the same pattern. Then you think, oh my God, I need to fix it. So what happens is when I was 6, one day, my father took out a notebook and they tell everyone, yeah, our destiny in the future. And one of my siblings was told she will have a miserable life when she reached 40. So I look at her face, it looked like a naive, look like a helpless. Her face shows to me is like okay, that's my life, what I can do. And that made me angry. I was 6. I was so angry. I was thinking, how could you possibly accept that? You will struggle and grew up and get a job, then one day you were trapped in miserable life. I don't think it's reasonable. So I look back, my dad, I asked how to change destiny. My father stared at me like I'm an alien. He said, nobody can change destiny. That's, oh my goodness, that's not the good news. Why? Because I already feel living in the hell. Then you tell me I cannot change destiny, although I don't understand what you told me about my future, but what I see now, I'm abused every day, suffer every day. Does that mean that I will have this life the rest of my life? No way. That's a time, that's an awakening call. I told myself, no, I have to save myself. But nobody helped me. Nobody even looked at me. There's oh my God, how I can find help? The only resource I have is me, myself, but who is I? We talk about my arms, my eyes, my nose, but who is the I? That's the time I found out that the powerhouse. What I recognize is every day when I was abused and there's something happening in my body, I feel the energy, this kind of force is there. And then I start to, I recognize the force try to grab me. Yeah, I didn't know what's that, but I know I need to take control. That's actually is I would start working on the unconscious mind. So what happens, unconscious mind is, mind is energy, it's not physical, not like a brain. Yeah. So what happens, unconscious mind is a powerhouse. And other forces is working on that. So if we don't take control, that force 24/7 is constantly working on our mind. That's how the world is controlled. If you have watched the movie Matrix in 1999, talking about the whole world is in the Matrix, the Earth is controlled. Yeah. But then the Neo's, Morpheus, asked Neo to fight. But pointedly, if we fight, what happens? If we fight, the unconscious mind will work against us. We shouldn't do that. So what's the real forces in the whole world control us? It's not about a hierarchy or at human being level, because everyone, as long as you are a human being, doesn't matter how powerful you are. Like Donald Trump, everyone is suffering, yeah? Because everyone is enslaved by their unconscious mind. The ecosystem, the universe, automatically sending the information, the frequency to our unconscious mind and try to trigger human being to make us suffer. Why? Why? You may question why. Because Earth being living on the low brain is a low frequency. We need a low negative energy to keep the existence of Earth. That's the reason.
Essentially, at the end of the day, it's sort of like a rubber band, right? You can stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch, but if you're not sure how far the elasticity will stretch, it could eventually break. And that's what happens when you get to a certain point of success, is that your subconscious mind isn't able to handle that because something in the past has triggered it. And if you haven't gone back to that to fix it or heal it, right, then it's going to snap.
That's one angle. The real reason behind is, when we are more successful, actually, how we can be more successful, we need focus, we need to be determined. Yeah, a lot of quality on that. But when we're doing that, actually, universe use hypnotic reason. NLP, mind rewinding, any kind of mind rewinding technique is part of that. That's the technique universe to use to control our brain. So that's why what makes us super successful is also what makes us tragicful. That's the reason. And what happens when we try to focus our mind, but without to take the power, control, basically like regain the lost territory in the unconscious mind. Yeah. And then what happens, and that's part of the power is used by the invisible force to against us. So we can be more successful, but meanwhile, the more we're successful, the more actually the power is generated by the other side to kill us. That's the reason.
So let's talk about a little bit about the invisible forces, because it sort of reminds me of, are you familiar with Joseph Campbell?
Oh, you mean, are you talking Joseph Campbell?
I'm not sorry. Not Joseph Campbell. Not Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell was a writer of the myths and legend. He did a lot of books on the subconscious mind. Man, I can't believe I can't remember his name right now. But essentially, I'll look it up while we're talking. But essentially, he was sort of like the one of the godfathers of this type of subject, right? I mean, obviously, you have Jung, you had Freud, but you also had this guy, and man, Joseph Murphy. Sorry, Joseph Murphy. Right.
I need to check his picture that I know who is the person. Sometimes I cannot connect name and the picture.
No worries.
Because I spent over $1 million in the past decade researching everything. I'm pretty sure what he covered, I already covered. So explain.
Yeah. So I mean, we've all spent a lot of money on ourselves to heal ourselves, so that we can be better people, right? But Joseph Murphy is essentially his main focus was primarily the subconscious mind and how you can, what it was about, how you could fix it, how you can heal it, how you can extend from that starting point after you've healed it, right? And it taught a lot of lessons. And thus far through the years, I think he started in the 60s, but through years after that, you have people like Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Joe Vitale, T. Harv Eker, like all these people, right, coming out with a lot of these really great perspectives and different ways of doing things, right? Because it's their own style. When you watch these people, they all talk about something similar, like you're talking about, which is the invisible energy, right? You're phrasing it as invisible energy, but other people phrase it as something different. So when you talk about the invisible energy, what is that invisible energy? Number one, and number two, how do you take control of that to change your life?
Okay, that's a very good question. I share with you. My angle is different from the rest of the people who working on kind of similar field. What I focus on is this. We should be able to solve humans' problem when we are in coma. We should be able to fix the problem like currently we are in COVID-19. Yeah, you can see at global scale when people suffer COVID-19 fear. Yeah, even so many therapists and masters, they get fear, right? They don't know how to deal with future. But I had already prepared myself for this moment over 40 years ago. At the time when I feel I'm going to die, I don't know how I not to die, or how I can die good way, yeah, or where I'm heading to. I prepared that a long time ago, yeah. And the point is, everyone were getting old. Am I right? But there is an issue: is dementia. Dementia as mere disease. Nobody can see how to control it, how to prevent it. I share with you. If we focus on our subconscious mind, but do not take the power back from unconscious mind, we cannot prevent us from dementia. Because dementia as mere disease, there is no clear reason in the medical field. Yeah, they don't know what's the reason. But the reason I share with you is from the invisible force. However, even we are able to, by luck, escape that. When we are heading to the gate of death, everyone we're going to die. I think because COVID-19, many people live in the fear of death. It's a good time talking about that, because before people say, I don't want to talk about that. Death, because they think that's far away from that. But now we can say maybe second moment, we called by COVID-19, we are going to die. So what happens in the unconscious mind? Let's talk about what is the real cause for COVID-19. Yeah, does it make sense?
Yeah, let's do it.
There are different level. There are conspiracy talking about because of the laboratory in which country, whatever. Yeah, but this is the conspiracy or theory at human level. But the universe is controlled in its ecosystem. Yeah, human beings have no difference like a cow, like all other species. We have to follow the ecosystem. Yeah. And what happens at the ecosystem level, COVID-19 is just one forces, one reasons, one way how ecosystem to let human beings suffer. Why need suffer? Because the ecosystem have its balance. They need to do certain things to make things happen. That's the reason. So what is the invisible forces? Now I'm going to introduce this book to you. Outweighing the Devil.
Love that book.
Outweighing the Devil, I share with you. Most people who love making money on entrepreneur, who knows Napoleon Hill, all read the book. But those people who read the book do not really have the, put like this, either do not have a solution for it. I believe not have a solution, like Stephen Jobs definitely read the book. He knew the power. He knew there is some force control the human being. Yeah. And in this book, Napoleon here interviewed the person. And the person in the interview is called the devil. And I explained the devil, use the words invisible forces. So invisible forces, it means any energy from the universe can affect human being, interfere human being. Yeah, there can be any frequency, can be whatever. You can even say ghost, you can even say angel, you can say whatever. Everyone have different explanation. Yeah, but in my book, actually I covered everything in detail. So point is, we are part of the products of the universe. So we have to be in the game. That's how it works. So for example, if a human being do not die, do not suffer, and how the ecosystem keep the balance? Does it make sense? So my point is, yes. Go
right.
on.
So, right. I mean, I totally agree with that. In Buddhism, I practice Buddhism, Nichiren Buddhism, and in Buddhism we call it devilish functions, right? And the devilish functions essentially are the small triggers that happen where, you're about to cross the finish line, and out of nowhere, a gust of strong wind pushes you out of the way and having you fall, right, with no reason whatsoever, right, and where somebody else passes and crosses the finish line, right, and it's those moments that I feel what you're talking about, which is the invisible forces. It's at those times we have to be aware of those forces so that we don't get blown over by the gust of wind, so we can continue to move forward. Right?
I share with you in this book. I think page 60, page 63, page 180. Yeah, I have a training at path2liberty.com. I highlight some points. I explain why. I share with you. This invisible force is working on us, working on human beings 24/7. So, for example, like people who are successful as an entrepreneur can control panic attack when they have awareness at work, but at midnight, suddenly woke up because of panic attack. Yeah, I have clients call me at midnight because they buy the VIP package. So I immediately took them out. So it's working on us 24/7. 24/7, like just the energy house. Yeah, this unconscious mind is a powerhouse, and other forces is using that 24/7. And in this book is mentioned, I occupy the unused space. What is that part? That actually is unconscious mind. So if you don't take over, other forces use it. That's the point. So we have to work 24/7 to get this back. It's like a battle war here. That's why you see successful people, why suddenly caught up in a severe mental health issue or suddenly want suicide. It doesn't make sense at all. Does it make sense? Yeah, you can hear a lot of story about it. Oh, by the way, and as part of my research for decades, and I research all different religions. But point is, there's so many complicated theory from different religions. Yeah. So what I notice is, it's better focus on take the power back, understand how to do it, rather than to be trapped into different religion or stuff. I have gone through this. I share with you myself was as a nun, couple of months, in kind of temple or this. And I was really in the serious process to be a professional nun, really damned and forever. But then I quit. I researched different religion. Yeah. And there are 3 different religions was proposed to me for me to stay there forever, be a nun. And I finally quit because I didn't find out that's the place I can serve the people the best. Yeah, I respect what they preach, but I'm not able to teach this. I can only teach Sutta, Bible, all these kinds of things. So I quit. Yeah. So when I'm talking about the invisible forces, there are different levels. So your freedom, how you control your destiny, depends on what level of freedom you want, or how much percent of the power, percent of the space you want to take over in control. That's all I'm saying. And then on Earth, not everyone is allowed to free from the mind prison. In this book, it said 98% of people cannot escape the web of catch. Why? Because the universe needs a frequency, the strong frequency to keep enough population to start suffering, so the Earth reign will be kept. Everyone can enjoy party, have sex, enjoy it as a human. That's the reason. My point is, if you want to enjoy human experience, but meanwhile you don't want to be the victim, you don't want to sacrifice, then you want to get rid of my prison based on the level you want. At least you don't want to what? Keep all unsolved issue. If we keep unsolved emotional, mental health issue, that's a bad sign. Why? Because at the time when we get into coma, because of car accident or whatever, or at least at the gate, when we're facing gate is the issue. Why? When we're facing the gate, our consciousness doesn't work anymore. we have to rely on, if we have a religion, rely on so-called Buddha, so-called angel, so-called God to save us, take us somewhere. Yeah. And the point is, I'm a person, put like that. I'm a person because my experience, I recognize I cannot count on anyone. I don't know if God or Buddha will appreciate me rather than others, because God and Buddha might be so busy, forget me. So I want to make sure I can take control. So what happens to me, if you know to 2012, the Dongwei, Dongwei, the end of the world. And then I was research all different religion about all this background that I recognize that nobody can tell me what's on the other side. So I actually working on myself. I actually go out. I actually go out to check what's going on the other side. Then I recognize death is not the most fear thing. It's not. It's temporary. Dying is temporary.
Right.
What happens is after death, where you are going to. Point is, if we have unsolved emotional mental health issue, we can be triggered and guided to the wrong direction. Wrong direction. If you already, you are Buddhist, some people when they die, they think they go to a good place, actually go to wrong way. Yeah, you already know this story. Yeah, but point is in different religion, not only talk about the cultivation or doing the susa, but I want to totally control and want to know exactly where I'm heading to, and how I know what I want to go is where I end up.
Your ultimate choice and awareness of what direction you want to go. It's like taking a trip, right? You're not just meandering around the world and just like taking any steps to go. You have a purpose to move forward to that direction. Also I wanted to kind of clarify that the Buddhism, like a practice, Nichiren Buddhism. I'm not a very religious person whatsoever. The biggest thing was because of the whole deity and statues and all that, right? The reason why I love this practice of Nichiren Buddhism is because it doesn't have all that. There's no clergyman, right? It's based off of actual proof, like science proof, because you have to prove it. You have to make it happen in your world. You have to make these things, and it's not really about depending on anybody and looking outside of ourselves, because we have to take care of ourselves in order to take care of our family, our community, globally, other people. So I just wanted to clarify that, but that's besides the point. Going back to what you were saying before, talking about, these invisible forces, how would you relate that and apply, any sort of remedies for the subject of racism in America? Racism in America, because so you're familiar with what's happening in America right now.
Okay. Right. Okay. Because I'm a speaker, I have an Asian face. Yeah, I came from China, and sometimes people automatically ask me question: how do you think about the issues in China? So the question I normally tell people is, that's consciousness question based on humans' connective value, or how our mind is trapped into thinking certain way. Put like this: racism is at a conscious level. At emotional level is impersonally have some kind of maybe personal experience. Yeah. Doesn't matter, that's experience directly from that, also people around that. And the other reason is actually from the press. Yeah, people are educated in different thinking about the races. But we think this way: universe have all different people with different culture background, skin backgrounds. Yeah, is created in a way we can see variety. Diversity. But meanwhile, there is another reason is actually is used to build conflicts between different races, different culture, is from invisible force, at the deep level, invisible force. Because invisible force, the purpose for invisible force is to create conflict, fight, and war, unpleasant feeling. Because what? Because that's the fuel, that's the food needed on this earth dimension. Racism is just one of that. But for us personally, we shouldn't buy in that. For example, how to fix this issue, right? We rather than see this issue, how to fix this issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whenever people, you look at the eyes, you think the people have a discrimination on you, what do? You looking back with sympathy, with compassion, with love to that person. Because you look at the eyes, you understand how he showed to us the way he shows is not from him, it's from the invisible forces. He is just the medium. That's how we can avoid trap. If we buy in that, what we say, oh, I get angry, yeah, or I maybe make us feel smaller, right? But if we, that's where the mind power comes from. At that time, it happens. That kind of energy, invisible force, try to work on you through him. So he is innocent. So what you can do to take the power over is you look into his eyes, smiling to him with like a big laugh. That's the only energy you can convert the energy to the power. Then when you are doing this, then actually you are shifting to another dimension for that moment. You don't need to know deep where is the invisible force come from. I share with you, I'm doing this research for decades. Yeah, I'm also a paranormal investigator. I have 2 PhD, paranormal science, paranormal psychology. I have all kinds, I have schizophrenia, yeah, all kinds of, possession, even they are entrepreneur. So I deal with invisible forces, okay? I have monks, caught me because he was so scared because alien touched him, okay? So, and I see people has in the eyes, normal entrepreneur suddenly have kind of when I'm asking some question because I see he's not from Earth, and he said, "How did you know that?" I said, "Do you know the job I do?" He said, "Okay." Because I want to find out where exactly he come from. He tried to refuse. I said, "Do you know exactly where he come from?" He said, "Kind of." I said, "How did you know?" He said, "He fly to America." I said, "How about that? I do that for free for you. I will take you the trip." He said, No. But I want to find out. So I asked, "How do you like humans' life?" He didn't answer. He was thinking. I said, "Okay, how do you like a human being?" His eyes start changing. That eyes look is not from conscious, not subconscious, from unconscious mind, not from him. He's far away. When I was facing that, I said, the first moment I said, what the hell I'm facing? I never faced this issue before, but I have no chance, no time to even think or panic. I immediately started talk very quick. I'm talking through my unconscious to his conscious, otherwise I would get big trouble. Okay, so what I'm saying is, if we hacking, that's also the reason why so many healers, gurus, they do the meditation, but suddenly caught up. Because invisible forces are at a different level, very complicated. It's better not to go there, but to learn how to take over the control. Does it make sense?
If you're sensitive to energies, right? If you're sensitive to energies, you can definitely pick up. So many. This is where the overwhelmingness comes from when people start to go a little crazy, right? Because they can feel energies left and right. They can sense what people were going through. But the trick I feel about that, because the reason why I'm bringing this up is I'm extremely sensitive to energies, right? And when I get to the point where I feel like I've added extra weight to it, that's when I have to that's when I feel like I'm a little weak because I haven't been able to exercise those levels. That's why it's important, at least from my experience, it's important to, obviously not to jump so fast, right? To gradually work yourself up with other people, and you have good people around you to train you or to learn from, so that you can build this piece by piece by piece by piece to get to the point you want to get to. When we are able to connect with the other person, like you were saying before, and look into their eyes, and instead of slandering them, right? You're causing more of a, not a forgiveness, but more of a loving feeling from the unconscious side, so that they can feel that they can feel that you're no threat. And then that you're part of this world, that we're all really living together, right? That's the sense I'm sort of getting from you right now. So kind of to bring it back to a little bit of racism or hatred, or just when people just don't feel comfortable being around certain people. So because we are all human beings, and at the deeper level, we all experience similar things, right? Now, when we have that sort of conflict, right? How does one person, whether you're on which, it doesn't really matter on which side you're on, how does that one single person shift it so that it can create harmony for the world?
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Harmony in the world starts from the harmony inside ourselves. And the point is, it's hard to create a harmony in ourselves. And the harmony, there are two different levels. Like people do the meditation master, they have the harmony inside themselves. But point is, this kind of harmony should be practical in the conventional world. Otherwise, we can only sit alone or in the mountains meditate, right? I share with you why it's important to engage in the conventional world. Why this mind power, taking over the control of the mind power, take control of the unconscious mind is so easy for aspiring people. Aspiring people are ambitious. Yeah. And this ambition means initiative. You are initiative, you like competition, you like control, you like dominate. Yeah. And they use this kind of mindset to take over this part of control. And then what happens? Once you take out this control, then you can start to convert this energy to your power. So when you talk about when sometimes you feel like the energy, maybe negative energy around, sensitive. But normally when we, like so many people, for example, like so many people that do the healing coaching for others, after the coaching others, they found themselves feel drowned. You know what that means? That means the invisible energy working on them, and you are working on yourself, and you are not have taken your power over. Yes, you are doing the therapy, doing the healing, but that healing, the power is not from you. Is manipulated, controlled by other forces. But if you know how to do it, that's what you train. Whoever, what kind of negative energy people have, and you are training this person, you know what happens? Their energy, negative energy, actually will convert into your power. You get more energized.
Right, and that's when you make that choice, right? When you make that, because before you were saying drained, when you get drained after talking to a bunch of people. When we can find a way to tap into and convert that energy into fuel for ourselves, right? In psychology, they break it down to extrovert and introvert, right? Introverts are at home, they recharge at home. Extroverts, go outside and recharge. My wife she recharges at home. She's an introvert, but I'm an extrovert. I love to talk to people. That's how I recharge, right? That's how I've grown to understand how to get fuel from other people, not stealing them and draining them from it, but an interchangeable interaction with them, right? So that we can share it back and forth, right? And get this energy and grow together, right? So saying that, I'm so glad you said that because to find that switch or that filter and not feel so weighed down sometimes is a very important awareness to have, so that we can really be able to feed off of each other. It's fuel. It's food for the soul, right?
Yeah, and I would like to clarify about the exchange energy, to feel inspired by others. Yeah, is different from convert negative energy to power. That's different.
Please.
When we exchange, what happens? We constantly need to go out and meeting people, get charged. We are not independent. We rely on resources. You know what happens with COVID-19? I actually put a quote, let's spread love and make it contagious over the coronavirus. Not so many people follow. Why? Because people feel drawn themselves. They have fear and worries. When they feel worried, they don't want to engage with other people or even think or how to help other people because they think they need help too, right? I even contacted some Indians, to organize online events because I want to help people because so many people, Indian people die. You know what I was told? Because people around them are all panicked with take care of their own family, worry get to suffer. Can you see that? Why that happens? Because we don't have the power, because we don't take over the control of the unconscious mind. So we need to identify what is that part and how to get the control. Because people confused. What happens in the unconscious mind? Every thought we have, yeah, or even when we are asleep. Is working. When we're at the conscious level, when our minds, we have thoughts, immediately the unconscious mind actually already working on us. So we need immediately to identify in our thoughts what's at the conscious level, what's at the subconscious level, what at the unconscious level, there are triggers behind these three levels. So what happens if you have if you already understand how to control the unconscious mind. Basically, it's like this is a battlefield. It's a powerhouse. If you don't take over the share, and the other force take the share. So when we take the share, what happens? We do not need to rely on to get people who can inspire us. We can survive at any environment, even we are with people who are so negative. Yeah, you will not drown. You will start to be able to consume that negative energy as a fuel, then convert into the power and help that person. You're talking about how to contribute to the world. That's what happened.
I love that. I love that. I want to go in this direction real quick because I completely agree with you. I just want to clarify that, when I do have conversations as an extrovert, quote unquote, it's not that I'm depending on people. It's just sometimes that's the way I recharge, right? Like I
get you. I get you.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You need to recharge from others. But what I'm saying is we don't need to, because recharge is in the powerhouse, in the unconscious mind. That's power, recharge. Because in that power house, that power is already there. That's all negative. Or you don't know what's invisible force try to working on us. Maybe sometimes they threw you some cake, sweet. You feel, that's a miracle. But the point is, you buying that, suddenly you are trapped. That's why you see globally all these leaders, I'm so successful, I'm billionaire, they suddenly suicide. Like Stephen Jobs suddenly lost his life. Even he said, I have no fear of death, but why he spent the time and try to recover and couldn't. He won't recover, but couldn't. Why? Because the unconscious mind is not belong to him. It's other forces is working on. Why other forces are working on him, choosing him? It's just a random, because every day universe needs enough negative energy. If not you, someone else. But
Right.
if you don't want to be randomly be chosen, you have to take the control, your powerhouse. That's what I'm saying. When you are in that control, you don't need to rely on anyone. You come to my childhood, I have no that I could rely on. I have to survive. How to do it? That's how I found this path. And once you have the power, you can use that power to boost the immune system. And that's the time even you don't need to rely on proper dietitian, a diet. I'm a registered dietitian. I'm a registered nutritionist. I'm even a registered chef. Okay, I have all qualifications. The higher level of the power you have, you are able to control the space unused by you, but unused by other forces. Is mentioned in the book, but in the book didn't mention is unconscious mind. In this book, the devil confused people. That's why so many people read the book, so they understand, but still lose control in life. And in my training at path2liberty.com, I cover all that.
Right. No, absolutely. Let me rephrase it then. Maybe using recharge isn't the right word because I definitely don't depend on other people getting me super energetic because obviously I have my own meditations. I recharge myself, right? That's self dependency. But what I'm saying with talking to other people, like having this podcast, for instance, right? I believe in the beehive mentality, hive mentality, right? And the more we can talk to other people, the faster we can learn, right? And so for me, the more I can talk with somebody like you or any of my guests, right? The more I can be able to grow within this world because we're outside of our bubble, and it's not really an easy thing because we're soaking up all this information, and how do you process all that, right? So for me, how I process it takes time to reflect on myself. It takes time to reflect on the outside world, other people around me, my environment, all these things, right? So I just wanted to rephrase that. Okay. Yeah, so coming back to the negative and the positive conversion, what I'm really fascinated about is, okay, so you were talking about the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious, right? There are triggers on all three levels. And so what does a person do if they're dealing with a small or big situation, whatever the situation is, right? How does a person become aware of those triggers on those three different levels? And how does a person convert the negative energy into the positive energy?
Okay, that's the several question. I want to first clarify what you said before about the process. So many information, yeah. So many information, and it takes time to process, yeah. And okay. That's what you explained is also connected with your question. The question you asked, yeah, is the same thing. What happened? Why so many people they working on. They spend so much money learning different technique, personal development, but still struggling. They can have ongoing personal development until the time they die, and still never finish. But that's not the way we want to live. We wanted to really have life in control, freed from the mind prison as a high level as possible. Then we enjoy the rest of our life at a different level. Does it make sense? Okay, so what happens when we can really, first we need to position ourselves. Are you really sure you won't be the master of your mind, your master of your destiny? If you want, the only solution with dominant effect is the unconscious mind, the powerhouse. If you don't control, this is like a head office. If you don't control, you're never able to really dominate your life. We can see globally all these leaders, yeah, what happens. Even like Donald Trump cannot control, right? Because this part of mind is not in our hand. But we are only control what? Consciousness and emotion. This consciousness is 10%. Emotion level is 10%. This 20% in total is controlled by the 80%. And you don't own that space. That's the problem. So what we need to do is just focus on, we call it don't, beat around the bush, right?
Right.
And also we don't want to, drink poison to kill the thirst. Yeah. But if we try to think other way to fix things, we do not take control of this part, we get nowhere at the end.
What you're saying is that when we're feeling overwhelmed, we can easily numb ourselves with alcohol or drugs or anything like that, which is not really taking control of the powerhouse of the unconscious mind.
That's right. It's all caused by what? By that part of the mind. That part of mind trigger your emotion, trigger your consciousness. So if you work on your emotion, work on your consciousness, yes, you shouldn't take alcohol. Yeah, I work on my emotion, feel good, meditate. Yeah, it work for a while. Then something's happened in your life again, then you go back again. But once you take over the control, do not allow any invisible force work on you because you own that space. Then you can dominate. That's it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. That makes total sense because when we decide to become the master of our mind, right, that's when we can actually take control of the steering wheel and take it into the direction that we want to go into, right? When you're talking about beating around the bush or not having a point to a story, that essentially is you're just letting your mind stream of consciousness and just letting it go. And that makes it more susceptible to have these invisible forces to take over. But when we can be aware of that and be able to go, this is what's happening, this is my direction. I have my focus, right? Whatever's happening around me is happening. But as long as I can consistently and completely pierce through, that's what the point is to completely pierce through.
That's right. And I would like to be specific. Only when we dominate the powerhouse and we know how to do it and we can pierce through.
What do you mean by dominate, and how do you dominate the powerhouse?
Okay. First of all, we first need to know what is taken. Everyone is different. Every situation is different. For example, if a person addicted to drugs, the other person addicted to drugs, their childhood is different. Yeah. And what triggered the childhood by the invisible force is different from others. That's why I provide a consultation to check subtly one by one. Once this get clear, the whole body understand, the conscious level understand, emotional level understand, then what to do? I just take the person. That's why clients, whenever what they do is whenever they have an issue, they record it at the time what happens. Yeah, I explain, and then they start to understand, have the awareness. First, have an awareness, what is that? The second is how to, awareness is conscious level, then how to react at the emotional level. Then also that third level is how to take over the power, convert it into the power. Take over the negative one, convert it into the power. And Anthony Robbins talking about invisible forces. Yeah, he said every leaders know we are shaped by invisible forces, but the invisible force he mentioned is emotion. I share with you. It's true when we bind that we are controlled by emotion. I would like to share my personal story about how to actually can get rid of that emotion in the space. I had an unbelievable experience in Fiji Sea on a jet skiing trip. I couldn't swim. I couldn't paddle even in swimming pool. But I accepted to be on the jet skiing with my beloved one. That's many years ago. I loved him, but he was in a very, very bad mood. His mentally was trapped. And when he told me, I'm going to take you to the jet skiing trip, and I will throw you to the water, and I knew there are two possibilities. One is either he joked, he just want to have fun. The second one is he possibly really wants through me and I disappear and I die. But based on the situation, he was arguing with me all these days and feel angry with me. He was pissed off. Yeah. And if normally people or other people normally say, they will say no, right? Because you see the danger. But being forced for me, I'm doing this work. I'm a researcher. I want to see, I don't want to make a subjective judgment. I want to see with my eyes what his real intention. How I know it, I can only do with it, although I take the risk of my life. Secondly, I want to see how my mind power level is. Whenever how we take mind power is whenever some very critical situation, catastrophic situation comes, then it's a time either you down, either you shift to another level. I'm used to it, since childhood. I'm get used to this kind of thing. I know there's a chance for me to shift in another level. So you're
a genius in that level, right? Genius, genius meaning
because I learned from childhood.
Yeah. Right. It's like Malcolm McDowell's, book about the 10,000 hours, right? You spent more than 10,000 hours in that realm. So you know how to navigate through it. And so that's what becomes a professional, right? A genius becomes a professional in that realm.
Because I was born in that situation, I need to survive. And what happens whenever I can sense my parents start to abuse me, I can sense the energy coming before they start. I already prepared myself. I started to consume their negative energy. So that's become my power source. So when I said to him, I said, okay, I will go with you because I love you. You know what happens? I knew I might die, but I took it. You know what happens? He is heading away from people. We were told we shouldn't go far away. Yeah. Because for safety. I can see he drives very fast to far away. I look around, nobody there. At the beach, I was thinking, how am I going to survive? I know I might going to die, but I don't want to die. I need to survive. How I survive. So I let my unconsciousness take over how I need to position my body. I didn't know. I know I cannot swim, I never be on the sea. Then I let it take over. Meanwhile, my consciousness, I check it around. And also my emotion, I cannot have any emotion. Why? If I have emotion, my muscle will weak. I can easily be thrown into the water. What he did is he twists around, and with the angle, I can feel my knees, my body is touching the surface of water. You know what happened? He's actually standing on the jet ski. When he stands, I can easily be thrown away. But what I did is I didn't hold his waist very tight. If I do that, I will be thrown away easily. I actually knocked my arms around his waist. And I actually make my feet still. That's it. And my whole body is moving. Follow him. I didn't know how to do it at all. And then when he was so tired and come back, he recognized he couldn't succeed. He heading back to the beach. He looked at me with his face impaled. Then I know he really wants to do it. Because he was mentally diagnosed with a mental health issue. If I die, he's free from the charge. Yeah, if he looked at me happy, oh baby, you're great, you survived. I know he loved me, but that time he was not. So I tapped on his shoulder. I said, baby, because I love you. He said, how could possibly you survived? I share this sort of story, just want to tell everyone how powerful our unconscious mind is. If I didn't take control, the invisible force can take control because the universe needs that energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It does make sense. I mean, when you're put into a situation that you don't know what the outcome could be, it it really comes down to, well, I mean, this is just kind of like, things that are coming up for me. It really comes down to how, like, where you want to see yourself at the end, right? And and obviously, and you want to see the best thing for the other person, right? But ultimately, when we can, master our minds and see definitively an idea of where we want to be at the end, right? That triggers all three levels in order to go into that direction. And even though there are many possibilities, the when you focus on those, the triggers, right? And when you see all those possibilities, but the one possibility of, in your case, of being alive, right? Through all this, right? That's the direction it took you, right? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, and also I want to emphasize is master how to take over the territory of unconscious mind. Because everyone, they talk about the mastermind, they talk about the consciousness, intelligence, and the emotional level. And that's a temporary fix. So what you need to do is just the master how to take over the power. That's not even what the story I share with you is not the one that actually give another level. I share with you another level with exactly connect with this one, exactly this person. Yeah, and I loved him so much, but he didn't want me unless he said, if you won't be with me, you have to be one of us. How I could be like then indulge with the drug, all these nasty things, impossible. I do not want to lose myself. I love him so much. Yeah, and before I met him, I already drew the image. He was ideally the person, how it looked, the height, even smell. I love him to pieces. Before I met him, I already know. But point is, I don't want to lose myself by begging his love because I won't be with him. Does it make sense? But how I can stay tall and love him without losing myself, but meanwhile, I will not suffer. Because we are not living in the old traditional value, oh, you have to be faithful for your beloved one forever, physically, emotionally, right? But point is, I love him so much, and I adore him, and I want to make sure myself feel happy and satisfied by being along with me. But I give him the chance. I let him know, I will wait for you. I know everyone is on different level of improvement or life journey experience. One day, maybe you understand what love means. And I told him, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, however you want. I will stay faithful for you. And when you come back to me, you know I'm still here for you. Because if he do this while I find someone else, then there is no chance. Yeah. But how can I stay loyal to him and loyal to myself? Because I had a wedding in the church. The reason I have a wedding in the church, because I love him. Yeah. And how I can enjoy my life without him, without the emotional suffer, without the physical suffer. So I asked different gurus from different religion, master, monks, nuns, and the priests. I said, do you know how can get rid of the needs, physical, emotional needs of intimacy, sex? Everyone said, we don't know. I told myself, I don't want to be slaved by what so-called humans needs, physically, emotionally, because you need intimacy. I spent 2 years. Okay, before that happens, yeah, I know I have to prepare because I can see the trends about him. I need to prepare myself. I spent 2 years working on my whole body and mind, especially that part of mine. You know what happens? And I removed that. At the time when I feel I'm going to finish the final pass, final bit and remove it, I actually put myself in the situation, deliver. I said, I need to cry. Do I really, really want to get rid of that? I cry. It's like a say goodbye. Yeah. Then I told myself, if you really mean it, you make it happen. I made it happen. You know what happens? Once I remove that, suddenly here, open, lights coming, and rainbows around me, around my house. I didn't do any so-called open the third eyes. I didn't do anything. And here opened, I don't see ghosts. People open here see ghosts. I don't. I see the high dimension. That's the time I recognize, oh my God, it's not about the death. It's not about the other side. It's what level of dimension you are able to connect. I share with you until now, it's already 8 years. I live a life without any dating, without any intimacy. I live a celibate life for 8 years. But nobody can believe that because I have makeup and it looks nice. Yeah, I have always people try to date me. I said no. Because why? Because I recognize I don't want to be slaved. I hate the feeling like being slaved because my parents slaved me. Yeah, I hate that feeling. I don't want myself forced to dating others while I miss him. I don't want to be forced in a relationship, then change a relationship, in a relationship. I fed up. Yeah. So I told myself, oh, I need to dominate. I don't want to be controlled by all kinds of different emotion from others, from the person you are living with. That's what I did. And then when I make it happen, you know what happens? I recognize when you are at a high level, male and female energy is one energy. And I live an amazing life. But you can see, nobody I'm not in the intimacy. I have no date or that. Point is, when I at this level, everyone can do it. You are embraced because all energy is one energy because you took over the power. But when we are at the level we believe we human have to emotionally connect it, then you bind that level of the web frequency. Does it make sense now?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm also having another role as an actress. Yeah, I share with you. And in some role, I cannot take it because they require a couple. I don't have a couple, so I end up doing the advertisement. Anyone want to be the acting couple, and do kisses? But point is, even I do kisses. Yeah, I think it will happen anyhow. Kissing in the acting doesn't affect my body. But people can see I'm enjoying it. But inside, my body is not reacted the way like people. Because once you control that part, it's completely different game. And this is big. The feeling is so beautiful.
Wow. I love that. I mean, hence Mind Power Magic. Angela, this has been really, really great conversation. If there was one piece of thought or advice that you would like to share with the listeners, because this podcast is based off of empowerment, right? What would that message to those people be, to that one person be?
If you really want to control your destiny, yeah, from birth to at the time facing the gate, and have really infinite success, you really want to have the skill liberate in my present. Once you have the skill, you can chunking down and chunking up. It's like me. Yeah, I can act like, okay, I have dating, but I don't, I can engage with anyone. Not like other Mongol days, they have to detach, right? And the other thing I want to share with, on the other side, there are hierarchy. It's not like what people think is oneness. No, it's hierarchy. The power we generate, the more we are able to take over the unconscious mind that help us to go to hierarchy on the other side. That's what I want to share.
That's great. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Do you have any social media that you like to let people know about and how they can contact you if they have any questions?
Yeah. If they go to social media, they can find me called Mind Power Lady. Yeah. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, on Instagram. They need to find the Mind Power Lady because the other one is taken. But the point is, all these links actually are connected on my website, path2liberty.com. Once you go there, you book in, you will see the membership area. All the detail will be there, and also my book will be available to download in 1 week's time.
I love it. I love it. So that website is www.path2liberty.com.
Yeah. And also there are different versions of the website of the book. So once you sign in, then you are able to get all update version for free without the extra charge. And also the training is there. Yeah, how to take over the powerhouse, the control of the powerhouse.
That's right. I love it. I love it. Let's take control of the reins and move forward with our lives, people. Angela, thank you so much again for your time and your wisdom and your experiences. Again, thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you all the audience. And I wish you all safe and stay top of yourself. Take your power back. I love you all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Peace out.